So here we are back again. Now we're going into sustainable food, and that's something that really touches every one of us, and it's really direct to our experience, to our daily practice, to whatever we choose to do daily. And we have Rui Catalão and Madalena Rugeroni, which I welcome and thank for the presence. Madalena is currently the manager for Spain and Portugal of a very well-known in-home project called Too Good To Go. And this is basically a project, an app, that takes whatever waste there is in restaurants and makes it not being wasted anymore and bringing it to your home, allowing you to have special treats and special food, but at a really much more competitive price. So Madalena, welcome, and please show us what you have to share to the world.
Sure. So before I start speaking about Too Good To Go and how we work, I thought it would be better to give some context on the theme and the topic of food waste. And if we speak about this, it's really an overwhelming amount of food that is being wasted every single year. If we talk about the world food waste, we're speaking about 1/3 of the food produced is wasted. And then this has a major impact in several different angles. The first one being on an environmental one, the second one on the social basis, because millions of people go hungry every year and will still waste 1.3 billion tons of food every year. And then the last one, obviously, on the economic side, because this also has major costs on the economic angle. So now if I speak a bit about what is our vision in Too Good To Go is really to get to a planet with no food waste. And we do this through different initiatives, not only just an app, but we usually call ourselves more than that, like a movement. And if we go into our mission and how we do this, we really try to inspire and empower everyone to fight food waste together. And we usually say that these partners of ours, the restaurants and the establishments, but also the people, the consumers that help us fight food waste are the waste warriors of Too Good To Go. So speaking a bit about how we work and where we have some actions, where we take some initiatives, we have the marketplace, like Margarida referred, as the app, but we also take some actions and some initiatives on other different angles, be it on the public affairs side. So for instance, this year still, we try to work with 5 different governments. We're already in 15 countries. So we try to work at least with 5 different governments to influence them to have some regulations that prevent and fight food waste. We work on the business side, having all these partners, restaurants, establishments, prevent food and also reduce the waste that they have. In schools, we have a lot of initiatives and campaigns, educational ones that bring awareness to this topic of food waste. And lastly, on the households, to make sure that people are more educated, and we create content for them to make sure that at home they also reduce their waste with food waste, with zero waste recipes, for instance. So going into the marketplace specifically, and this is where people have more visibility on what we do, it's an app, it's free to download, and really it's a simple solution to reduce food waste. Basically, people can just download it, and then on the operational side, you see what are the restaurants or the stores that we have on the app that are nearby you. You can choose the one you prefer, and then you can reserve this magic box, what we call the magic of Too Good To Go, because obviously you can't actually select the products that you're gonna have. You can select the store or the establishment, but not the food itself, because this is surplus food that wasn't sold at the end of the day. So you reserve your magic box in the app, and then the only thing you need to do is go to the actual store and collect the magic box that you reserved in the app. Obviously, this is a win-win-win solution in many ways. The first one on the consumer side, because you're gonna get quality food that is good for consumption, but at a reduced price. Usually it's 1/3 of the actual price that it would be. on the business side, on the partner side, it's advantages for them because they're reducing their waste at the same time that they're acquiring new potential clients. And then lastly, and the most important of all, is on the planet side, because obviously we're helping the planet reducing the waste that we have. This is a bit about us. So we are in 15 countries, and so far we have been able to save 49 million meals. In Portugal specifically, we've started here in October last year, so it's 1 year anniversary soon, and we've been able to save 200,000 meals so far. In terms of users and partners, we're growing a lot, and here I'll show you some of the partners we work with. We not only work with restaurants, but we also work with supermarkets, with hotel chains, even gas stations, pastry shops. So any kind of establishment that has food and wants to make a difference in reducing food waste with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Madalena. Along with Madalena, we have Rui Catalão, that in the Netherlands had an epiphany 3 years ago. And Rui and Maria changed their lives that were pretty quiet lives, pretty timid, quiet lives. And they had to open up their doors because the idea was too good to just save for themselves. And the idea was to stop waste, basically learn how to eat better, learn how to live better, but promote your own food, your own eating without any waste around. So how did that come together, and what do you have to show us in this Kitchen Dates project?
Thank you very much for the introduction. It's quite a journey already, even though it's only 3 years. But before diving a little bit more into what we do, I want to show you a picture. And for most of you, this is probably just a pile of waste. For me, when I look at it, I see humankind's worst creation. Because if you think about it, we generate millions of tons of waste every day. And we take a huge amount of natural resources, we use them for a while, and then we dump them in a pile like this forever. So we're creating this every single day, and it's safe to say that we lost sight of the big picture because we don't want to see it. So let's zoom into a more specific category, food waste. This is something that it's probably a bit more familiar to all of you. And we took a perfectly closed loop, a perfect cycle, and we broke it as well. Because if you think that in nature there is no such thing as waste, then we came in and totally broke the system, especially when we started packaging stuff and sending it all across the globe. That's when the damage really started. So nowadays it's pretty common to see something like this. And at Kitchen Dates nowadays, we have a clear vision of how to fix this problem, how to fix this food system that is broken. And this is sustained by two major commitments we have. The first one is that we don't have a garbage bin. We simply don't have it. You can search around in our restaurant and you won't find it. The second one is that we work exclusively with local ingredients. And before anyone tells me this is impossible and you can't really do it, I'll explain you how we do it. So first of all, we source all our fresh produce from a 50-kilometer radius around Telheiras, here in Lisbon, where we are located. And all other ingredients like grains or nuts may come from a maximum of 500 kilometers from our restaurants. So to sum it up, this basically means that all our ingredients come from mainland Portugal. They come directly from farmers without middlemen. Everything's organic, and it arrives in reusable containers. So if everything comes in reusable containers, and for instance, we mill our own grains, we ferment our own drinks, we make our own sweeteners, so we pretty much make everything from scratch. There's nothing left to package, so there's basically no waste. But you're probably thinking that there's still got to be something, for instance, organic waste, because it's a restaurant and every restaurant has a lot of organic waste. Well, let me introduce you to Eva. Eva is our electric composter. She's basically fantastic in turning all organic matter into compost in a matter of 24 hours. So basically, the last step, so something that is left in our diners' plates or something that we can't use in the kitchen simply goes to feed Eva, and she turns all that into a fantastic product that is then given back to the farmers we work with in a true circular economy model. But that's not everything that we do with it, or not everything we're going to do with it from now on, because since pretty much a few days ago, we have a partnership with the local municipality, and we have a little piece of land in a community garden just 500 meters away from the restaurant. This means we're going to start growing our own foods, but we're also, so the compost will go there, of course, but we're also sharing this compost with all other users of this community garden, and it's just 5 minutes walking from the restaurant. Many people call us crazy extremists because we're going such lengths to do this. I have a different idea about this, because what I see is that someone needs to set the bar higher for us to be more demanding of ourselves. Because otherwise we're going to have a lot of even worse issues to deal with. So we want to be an example, a reference that people can look at. And even if you only go half of the way or a third of the way, you're already doing much better for yourself, for your communities, and for the planet. So this is basically how we see things as they should be. So a lot of closed short circuits, communities working together, people knowing the farmers they source their food from, no packaging involved, preferring what's natural over what's industrially engineered. And in a way, that future is already happening with Kitchen Dates. So I welcome all of you to join us in creating a much better, a much more sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to go back to you, Madalena, and ask you about people in daily lives. So we've seen, and it was on the short film right before we entered this morning, the one notion that we have: we'll separate the waste, we'll take it to the garbage bin, but then we don't do much more, average people. How do you actually keep them coming? How do you make them change their action by just following you? Because we can go to the restaurant and we'll do our own share of good behavior, but then how does that grow?
Yeah. I think the most important thing to refer here is about education. I think there's still a lack of education, and we need that to happen more and more, so that people are aware about this topic, so that they're aware of what activities and what things can they do to improve in terms of reducing the waste that they have at their home, but also on the daily lives. I think, as Rui was mentioning, the future is now, in the sense that we need to start taking action now, and not only just these partners that we work with, but people at home. And there's small things that nowadays people start to do more and more, but still there's a lot more that we can do. And at Too Good To Go, what we try to do here is not only redistribute, right, this food that could go to waste, but we're preventing to go, but also trying to bring more awareness to this topic. So right now, for instance, we have this campaign that is called Take Food Seriously, to make sure that people know about the topic and that they can drive action on the daily basis. Because what we want at Too Good To Go is really to promote this lifestyle that is more conscious and that is more sustainable in the long term.
Okay, Rui, what about your workshops? Because you do have this educational side at Kitchen Dates, but they're in-house. Do you take them outside? Are you growing that way?
Yeah, we do it. Sometimes we have partnerships with other organizations that we want to, to spread our ideas. The thing is, we've been from the very early days what we call a food literacy project. Now is materialized in a restaurant, so there's a physical space for that. But overall, we're all about education and giving people information, resources that they can use to then make their own changes. So we're always open to, spread as much as we can.
Would you be able to scale up?
It depends. The restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, one restaurant is already a lot of work for me, so I wouldn't want to scale that, but I really want to scale the ideas and the principles that we champion here. Yeah.
So that we have a notion of work that it takes behind scenes.
Yeah.
You have the restaurant open 3 days a week.
Yeah, at the moment we only work, we work 7 days a week, but we're only open 3 days a week because...
So are the other 4 days a week towards the restaurant, or are you doing other things because the restaurant is not sustainable yet?
Well, the restaurant is sustainable. Obviously, we're in a very difficult situation right now with the pandemic, but we've been pretty much profitable since day one. Of course, there are challenges, but right now, if I look at a specific week of work, it's 3 days that we're open, but it's pretty much, I would say, 5-6 days a week that we're working towards those 3 days. Yeah.
So that's challenging.
Yeah,
Madalena, we're on our last 30 seconds. You're spread out throughout the world. What's the worst attitude that you've seen?
The worst?
Yeah. Just speak it out so that we face it.
I mean, for me, it would be just throwing with the conscience that they know what they're doing. So taking the guilt for it and knowing that they're still doing the wrong thing while they're actually wasting and throwing out food.
That would be the worst you could do at home, so please don't do it and wake up to this today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madalena and Rui.
Thank you.